All right, so you're planning a trip to New Zealand, huh?
Beautiful country.
It is, but you're going to want to know a little bit about rugby if you're going to hang out with the Kiwis.
Oh, yeah.
They're obsessed with it. It's
Yeah.
basically a religion down there.
It is. It's like their national sport.
And you don't want to sound like a total asshat when the conversation inevitably turns to the All Blacks.
Oh, no, you don't.
So we're going to dive deep into the All Blacks today.
Let's do it.
Give you all the ammo you need to bullshit your way through any conversation.
That's what we're here for.
So who are the All Blacks? They're the New Zealand National Rugby Union team. And let me tell you, these guys are fucking royalty.
They are.
They got a 77% winning record.
Which is insane when you think about how long they've been around and how many games they've played.
It's insane. And it's not just the winning percentage, it's the sheer dominance.
They've basically crushed every single opponent they've faced.
More wins against any single opponent than any other team in history.
And get this, they've held the #1 world ranking longer than all other teams combined.
So basically all other teams combined are fighting for scraps.
That's one way to put it.
What the hell, man?
They're that good.
It's insane. I mean, what's their secret sauce?
Well,
Is there like magic fern juice they're drinking down there in New Zealand?
I wish I had some of that, but it's a combination of factors. Lay it on me.
Okay, so New Zealand has a passionate rugby culture,
Yeah.
like from a very young age.
Yeah, they're basically born with a rugby ball in their hands.
Pretty much. And that means they produce a lot of naturally gifted players.
Makes sense.
But it's not just about talent. They also have this incredible coaching system
Okay.
that really emphasizes skill development, tactical awareness, and mental toughness.
It's like a whole machine.
Yeah, it's a well-oiled machine.
Rare.
And you can't forget about the haka.
Ah, yes. The haka, we got to talk about that.
That's part of it.
That shit is intimidating as hell.
Oh, it's terrifying.
And it's got to get in the opponent's head before the match even starts.
100% psychological warfare.
So explain the haka for those who don't know. Okay, so it's a traditional Maori challenge.
Yeah.
Deeply rooted in their culture and history.
Like way back.
Way back. And for the All Blacks, it's a way to connect with their ancestors, their land, and their identity.
So it's like a spiritual thing, too.
It's a very spiritual thing.
Not just about scaring the shit out of the other team.
Although that's a nice bonus.
Yeah, I mean, imagine you're about to play these massive dudes,
Oh, yeah.
and they're in your face, stomping their feet, slapping their thighs, and making these fierce-ass expressions.
You'd be bricking it?
You'd be shitting your pants.
Absolutely.
There are different types of haka, right?
Yeah, there are.
Some are more hardcore than others.
So the most famous one, the one everyone knows, is the kamate.
Kamate.
Kamate. But then there's the kapa o pango,
Kappa o bingo.
which they started doing in 2005.
Okay.
And that one's got this throat-slitting gesture,
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
which caused a huge controversy.
Yeah, people thought it was a bit much.
People thought it was too violent, but the guy who created it said it was about drawing energy, not threatening anyone.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I know.
Total bullshit.
It's all part of the intimidation factor.
You don't see them doing ballet moves out there, do you?
Definitely not Swan-like.
The haka's a big deal in New Zealand.
It's a symbol of national pride.
They even have a special group of elders who advise them on the proper performance.
Yeah, they take that shit seriously.
All right, so we've talked about the haka, but when did this whole All Blacks thing start?
Okay, so their first official test match,
Test match.
which is basically like an international match between national teams,
Ah,
was way back in 1903 against Australia.
okay.
And there's this funny
I
story
love a good origin story.
about how they got their name.
Hit me with it.
So supposedly, a London newspaper reporting on their 1905 tour made a typo
A typo.
and called them the All Blacks instead of the Blacks.
Wait, you're telling me a fucking typo made them legendary?
That's a good story.
That's hilarious.
It probably didn't happen that way.
Yeah, probably bullshit.
But the name stuck, and it works.
Right?
They wear all black. It's intimidating. It's iconic.
It's perfect.
It's become synonymous with their dominance.
Speaking of controversies, the All Blacks haven't been immune to those.
No teams.
Their history is intertwined with some significant social and political moments in New Zealand,
Absolutely.
especially with apartheid.
Right.
What's the deal with that?
You're talking about the Springbok Tour of 1981.
Springbok Tour.
South Africa, still under apartheid, toured New Zealand, and the country was completely divided.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Protests erupted, matches got canceled,
Really?
and the whole thing became a symbol of the fight against racial segregation.
Wow. So rugby at the center of a political storm.
Yeah, it was a really tense time.
Didn't some dude drop flower bombs on the field from a plane?
Oh yeah, during the third test match.
What?
Some guy decided to make a statement
A statement?
by flying a plane over the stadium and dropping flower bombs onto the field.
You're kidding.
Nope, it happened.
That's fucking nuts.
They called it the flower bomb test.
The flower bomb test. Imagine balls on that guy.
Yeah, he was definitely making a point.
What a legend.
That whole tour was a turning point for New Zealand. It forced people to really confront the issue of racism head on.
Wow, so the All Blacks in the Springbok tour really shook things up.
Yeah, it was a pivotal moment in their history.
Heavy shit, man. Okay, so we've talked about some of the darker shit,
Yeah.
but let's move on to something a little more uplifting.
All right.
World Cup glory.
Ah, yes.
These guys are 3-time champs,
87.
11 and 15.
Some of the greatest rugby teams ever assembled.
And in 2015, they made history
They did.
by becoming the first team to win back-to-back titles.
Back to back, baby.
Thick and awesome, right?
Absolutely. Those World Cup wins cemented their place in history.
But they've had their fair share of heartbreaks, too.
Every team does.
Yeah, like that 2007 quarterfinal against France.
Ooh, that was a tough one.
What the hell happened there? That was their worst World Cup performance ever.
It was a shock. They were the favorites playing at home,
Yeah.
and they got knocked out by France.
Yeah.
It sent shockwaves through the rugby world.
Yeah, nobody saw that coming.
The fallout was brutal.
Really?
They commissioned a 47-page
A
report
47-page report.
to dissect what went wrong. That's how seriously they take it.
Damn, talk about pressure.
Yeah, the weight of a nation on their shoulders.
Okay, enough about the team's ups and downs. Let's talk about the players.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Everyone knows Jonah Lomu.
The legend.
The guy was a beast, ran over people like they were speed bumps.
He was unstoppable.
A true legend.
One of a kind.
But if you really want to impress those Kiwis,
Oh, yeah.
you got to dig a little deeper.
Gotta know your shit.
Let's drop some names that you might not have heard before.
All right, I like this game.
Colin Meads, Don Clark, Michael Jones.
Oh, now you're talking.
These guys were the heart and soul of the All Blacks,
Legends in their own right.
and their stories are pure gold.
They are. So let's start with Colin Meads.
All right. Colin Meads. Who was this dude?
They called him Pine Tree,
Pine Tree.
and he was as tough as nails.
Okay.
A lock forward, played 133 games for the All Blacks, including 55 test matches.
That's a lot of games.
Known for his toughness, his uncompromising style of play.
Sound like a hard man.
Oh, there's this famous story about him playing with a broken arm for most of a match.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they don't make him like that anymore.
What a badass.
Hardcore.
Okay, what about Don Clark? What made him so special?
Clark was the boot.
The boot.
The guy could kick goals from practically anywhere on the field.
So wait.
He held the record for most test points for a long time. Imagine the pressure of kicking those crucial goals,
Yeah.
knowing the whole nation is watching.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure.
But Clark was ice cold, never let the moment get to him.
Nerves of steel.
Absolutely a true professional.
All right, last but not least, Michael Jones. What's his story?
Michael Jones was a different breed, an incredible flanker, one of the best ever,
Okay.
but he was deeply religious and refused to play on Sundays.
Wait, what?
That meant he missed some crucial matches,
Seriously?
including a World Cup semifinal.
Are you shitting me?
Can you imagine having that kind of conviction
That's wild.
to put your beliefs ahead of everything else?
Damn, that's some serious dedication.
It shows you what kind of man he was.
Okay, so we've covered the haka, the history, the World Cup wins and losses,
Yep.
and some legendary players. What else should our listener know to sound like they actually know their shit about the All Blacks?
Well, here's the thing about the All Blacks. They're more than just a rugby team.
Okay.
They're a symbol of New Zealand's national identity, their spirit, their pride.
It's woven into their culture.
Exactly. When the All Blacks play, the whole country rallies behind them.
It's like a religion down there.
Pretty much rugby is ingrained in their culture, their history. It's what they talk about, what they dream about. It's more than just a game.
It's a way of life.
It's their lifeblood.
So our listener needs to understand that it's not just about the sport itself.
No,
They need to respect the tradition, the passion, the haka.
absolutely.
And they need to know their Meads from their Clarks, their Lomas from their Macaws.
Know your history, know your legends.
Exactly. Don't just rattle off
Right.
stats. Know the stories, the personalities, the legends. That's what will impress those rugby fanatics.
That's what separates the posers from the true fans.
All right, so we've armed our listener with enough knowledge to hold their own in a conversation about the All Blacks. But there's one more thing.
Oh, there's always one more thing.
Are these guys still the untouchable gods of rugby?
Good question.
Are they slipping? Is the dynasty crumbling?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
The game is changing. Other teams are catching up.
Yeah.
South Africa just knocked them off their pedestal at the 2023 World Cup.
Oh, yeah.
Their first pool stage loss ever.
You're kidding?
That's a serious wake-up call.
Shit, you're right. And remember that ass kicking they got from South Africa in that warm-up game, 35-7?
Oh, yeah.
Worst loss in their history. Embarrassing.
It was a humbling experience for sure.
So you're saying there's a chance these guys might actually lose their crown?
It's definitely a possibility.
So you're saying there's a chance these guys might actually lose their crown?
It's definitely a possibility.
That's wild. I mean, they've been at the top for so long, it's hard to imagine anyone knocking them off.
It's the nature of sport dynasties don't last forever.
True. True. So what's changed? Why are they suddenly vulnerable?
Well, the game itself is evolving, tactics are changing,
Okay.
and other nations are investing heavily in their rugby programs.
They're catching up.
Exactly. They see the All Blacks as the benchmark, and they're determined to close the gap.
So it's not just about talent anymore. It's about resources and strategy.
It's a combination of factors, and look at what South Africa did in the last World Cup.
Yeah, they really exposed some weaknesses in the All Blacks game.
Weaknesses.
The All Blacks' weaknesses. What are we talking about here? Spill the tea.
Well, for one, they're not as physically dominant as they used to be.
Really? I always thought of them as these massive, unstoppable forces.
They still have plenty of size and strength, but other teams have caught up.
Okay.
The gap has closed, and their traditional attacking style, which relies on speed and improvisation,
Yeah.
is becoming a bit predictable.
Predictable.
Teams are figuring out how to shut them down. They're analyzing their game. They're finding ways to counter their strengths.
So they need to evolve or die, basically.
Adapt or fade away. That's the reality of professional sports.
Damn, that's harsh but true. So what do they need to do to stay on top?
Well, they need to adapt their game plan, develop new strategies, and maybe even bring in some fresh blood.
Speaking of fresh blood, who are some of the up-and-coming players we should be keeping an eye on? Who might be the next Jonah Lomu or Richie McCall?
There are a few young guns making waves. Keep an eye on Will Jordan, a crazy talented fullback with lightning speed.
Okay, Will Jordan.
I'll remember that name.
And then there's Artie Savea, a loose forward who's an absolute beast.
A beast.
Strong, athletic, fearless, real game changer.
Okay, Artie Savea, got it. These guys sound like the future of the All Blacks. They have the potential to be superstars.
But what about the old guard? Are any of the current All Blacks still at the top of their game?
Absolutely. Sam Whitelock, a lock forward, is still a rock in the scrum and a leader on the field.
Okay.
And Bowden Barrett, the fly half, is still one of the most creative and dangerous players in the world.
So there's still hope for the All Blacks.
There's always hope.
They might have lost a bit of their swagger, but they're not going down without a fight.
They have too much pride, too much history.
They've got the talent, the experience, and the legacy to stay on top. It's just a matter of adapting and evolving.
And that's what makes it so exciting to watch.
It's a new era for rugby, and the All Blacks are facing their biggest challenge yet.
It's a true test of their character.
Well, there you have it, folks.
Yeah.
A crash course in All Blacks history, glory, and the challenges they face in this new era of rugby. We've given you the knowledge. Now it's up to you to use it.
Go forth and impress those Kiwis.
So next time you're hanging out with some rugby fanatics, drop some of these nuggets of wisdom, and they'll think you're a goddamn guru.
Just remember to be respectful of their passion for the game.
Yeah, don't be a dick.
It's a big deal to them.
And on that note, we're out. Go watch some rugby, have a beer, and let's see what the future holds for the All Blacks.
Cheers to that.